I don't care what you believe Satanism is. When you listen to demons, when you go to hell, there is no love. It's all a nightmare. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mona Lyons. I'm a psychic medium, a near-death experiencer, and a demonologist. Today we're going to be talking about a video review based on a documentary called Hail Satan. But it had a question mark. Why? It's because we are wondering, should we? Is that a good idea? Is this something that we should consider? Is it really as misunderstood as a lot of the Satanists and demonology practitioners believe? No. Real quick, if you guys like my sweater, Demon Dealer, and you are into this, if you guys like this sweater or any of my other merch, at my little store in the shop section. But this documentary is definitely interesting. It was actually quite intriguing. I'm not going to lie. As a psychic medium, as a demonologist, as a person that has really seen the harsh realities of demons, and then to see people basically dressing up like Halloween every day, it's very hard to take you seriously. Okay, so let's be real. I've seen the documentary. If you have not seen the documentary, there's going to be some spoilers in this. If you haven't seen it and you don't want any spoilers, then stop this video now and then go see the video and then come back to this. Should we hail Satan? That's the first question everyone probably wants to know, even if you've never seen me before. By the way, if you've never seen me before, welcome. If you've seen me before, hi, welcome back. The question is, should we hail Satan? Is Satanism, is Satan a misunderstood being? No, absolutely not. So here's where I get very serious real quick, is Satan does exist. I've met Satan. It's not an experience you wish you really ever had. Satan is very dangerous, extremely volatile, extremely aggressive, extremely dangerous, extremely negative on so many levels. He's beyond the worst entity you probably will ever encounter, and I pray you never do. And this is not saying as a person who's religious, I'm not religious. I used to be religious. Very much. And then when I had my near-death experience at 18, I'm 33 now, I went to heaven. I saw the other side. I met Jesus Christ, and he explained to me that the Bible is not entirely true. And if you want to learn more about my NDE, you can go to my other videos at my NDE section of my album playlist there, and you can watch all of those videos, and it will answer a lot of your heated questions that you may have. This was triggering, listening to these people talk about how Satan is a misunderstood entity, but more so that they don't really believe in a literal hell, that they actually believe that, and this is where it gets different, is there's different levels of Satanism. There's different kinds, and each person, this is the interesting aspect, is a lot of people that do worship Satanism, they will say they don't believe in a literal Satan. They don't believe in a literal hell. But when you look into the entire documentary, or you look into the people that you encounter that do worship these kinds of things, these kinds of beings, you will notice right away that they do worship that entity specifically. So their actions do not meet with their words at all. Demonologist, as a person who has seen demons physically, I've seen them physically manifest in my home, in my surroundings and locations. I have seen them on astral realm experiences. I've seen them in hell. And why I was in hell, that is of my business right now, but I will share that eventually, but I'm not comfortable really talking about that. There was one instance where I did summon King Payman, and when I did that, It was a very regrettable situation, but I did that. At the same time, I don't regret it, and I do, because I went through a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, but at the same time, I learned invaluable lessons that changes you for the rest of your existence. Your soul existence will never be the same. Understanding this is hell is a literal place. So it is real. There is no metaphysical or metaphorical idea. It's a literal sense. It's a literal place. It is a actual realm. When I was religious, of course I used to believe that too, but I didn't really want to believe in hell. When I look back in my years, I really didn't want to believe in hell ever. Deep down, I never wanted to believe that. I never wanted to believe for a second that a God would damn people to such a horrible place. The truth is, the good news is that's not true at all. The Bible is not entirely true in that aspect, which is very good news. No soul is ever damned to hell. So in Satanism, I can understand why a lot of people, when they didn't like the Bible, they would resort immediately to Satanism. And I thought that's an extreme aspect, to suddenly go from not liking the Bible to, okay, I'm going to immediately rebel. And that's the idea, the ideological idea of Satanism is the rebellion. I've met a Satanist before, several people, and they're all good people. I mean, hell, I almost dated a Satanist, literally. Figured out very quickly, however, was this person would even have a demon attached to him, to the point where it would start attacking me. And because he was in denial of it, this man was in total denial of this demon, and said that I was hallucinating, that I wasn't telling the truth, or that it would never harm me, even though I know what I experienced was not something that could be hallucinated, because I don't hallucinate. I knew it was real because I was pulled out of my bed. It was horrifying. But thankfully, Archangel Michael rescued me from that experience, and they took that entity out. I even tried to understand a Satanist. And even in the documentary, okay, we're still talking about the documentary, but I want you to understand that I'm not giving my review of Satanism based on just, oh, my shallow-sided opinion. I have seen Satanism at its worst. I have seen it at its best, and I've also seen it in the middle, where there's a lot of things, a lot of gray areas that should be explained and should be understood. I actually wrote a huge list right here. I wrote pages and pages of a list of Satanism and all these things that were in about the video of the documentary. And to be honest, I've decided I'm not going to listen to that whole list. I'm going to just tell you what I know about Satanism. As a person who has experienced Satanism from a personal, literal sense, as a demonologist, and as a person who has been tormented by demons in the literal sense. And you can take what I say, or you don't have to. And I know my whole video is going to be flooded with I'm evil and Satan's the best. And I know a lot of people are going to suddenly flood my whole thing about that. You know what? Go for it, because that's all that hate is just more comments for me, and that builds my algorithm for my video. But in real sense, in reality though, I have a divine personal responsibility as a psychic medium, as a demonologist, to tell you the truth about what is prevalent, of what is important to understand. Demons are not a metaphorical thing. Satan is not a metaphorical being. It's not an expression. He's not an idea that represents this idea. He is an actual physical entity. And the truth is, when I met Satan, and I didn't, I just realized now I know why Archangel Michael's here. I will tell you what I saw when I saw Satan. I was actually waiting on making this a special thing for a specific video on Satan, but you know what? I've decided this is appropriate because I have met Satan. And a lot of Satanists refuse to acknowledge his malevolence. A lot of Satanists refuse to acknowledge the reality that Satan loves pain. Satan is not kind whatsoever. This is where it gets really hard for a lot of folks that are Satanists. And I will say that even when I share my experiences, I've actually helped a lot of people that were in Satanism to decide to get out of it, because everything that I was saying validated their feelings, validated their own personal experiences, people all over the world, okay? And that's why I continue these videos, because this is important. This message is important. And I hope that even if it saves one person today, then it did its purpose. The purpose is done. Awesome. This is what I experienced. When I was talking with Lucifer, it was during a time where Lucifer showed up. And it was after a moment where I was in hell and I was actually speaking with Lucifer. And Lucifer always eats an apple. It's really annoying, actually, after a while. The temptation of the fruit of knowledge, da-da-da-da-da. He likes to mock it, too, because not all of the Bible is true. Lucifer, a fallen angel, yes, absolutely. But was he kicked out of heaven by God? No. I do think he was by choice, that he left heaven. But when I was speaking with Lucifer, I said, you know, I've never actually seen Satan, and I still wonder sometimes. And I know a lot of you guys may think I'm absolutely nuts, but I'm one of those thick-headed people that I kind of need to see it to believe it. Eventually then, in that conversation, he said, all right, let's go outside, because we were in like this cabin-like house. And then we go out, and on the porch right outside to my left, which is a significant sign, and I recognized that right away, to my left, there's this man. Tattoos all over his arms and body, all over his body. The second I saw him, I knew it was Satan. I was very hypnotized by his magnificent presence. He does have incredible amount of power. It's overwhelming. The second you see him, it's overwhelmingly frightening, is what I mean. So I knew not to overstep my boundaries and to be nice. I knew that. It's not even about just fear. It's about understanding that each spirit deserves respect. When you play nice, they play nice. Now, does this mean that this makes him nice when you're nice to him? No. Do not ever get that message confused. These entities, even Satan, will be nice to you, and then all of a sudden, he fucking twirls around and starts attacking you within seconds. It's not pretty. But in this moment when I was with him, he was calm, he was collective, and I remember he actually almost looked physically attractive, but he almost looked like an animal, but he looked human. He did have hooves. But he had these claws, and I'm actually wearing these in fun for, you know, the holiday season, but I actually love them. They're really fun. He had claws in his fingers, and on his arms he had these tattoos, and these tattoos glowed. Okay, I've never seen that with an entity before. This was spectacular. Like, it really did blow me away, and I was in denial for a long time if that was really Satan. I really was. And it's a very long story, but he did attack me, and he tried to take me back to hell. Now, the truth is, when a soul, a person living, gets taken to hell, that's how they can become possessed. And then when their soul is in hell, trapped in hell, a demon will take over your body, and you will no longer be a part of your body anymore. You'll be a monster. And this is why it's very important in that situation where my soul was at risk. By the grace of heaven, by Archangel Michael and other angels, they rescued me. It was definitely a moment I will never forget. It was definitely one of the most horrifyingly scary moments of my life, because I knew what was in that realm. I've been in hell before. I've been in hell several times, twice to be exact. And the first time, it was because of summoning King Payman. Now, if you're interested in that story, you can go watch it at my video about King Payment. It's the only one that I actually made, and probably the only one I will ever make. The second experience of hell, that was another story that I'm not entirely comfortable talking about. I'm okay today. I'm surrounded by amazing love and support and healing, so I'm okay. But from what a lot of people say, you know, negative things like, oh, well, you were probably in hell because you did things that you got what you deserved. When I hear people write comments, when I read that, I don't even wish hell on my worst enemy. That's saying something. I don't even wish hell on the men that have raped me. I don't. I would honestly rescue them from that. I really would. Because no one deserves hell. No one. And I'm not religious. I'm not an atheist. I'm not agnostic. I'm not, you know, a person that is into Wicca or witchcraft or whatever. It's like I'm open to all those things, but I don't identify by any of those things. Primarily, I just like to consider myself a psychic medium, a demonologist, and a light warrior, light worker. And as a light warrior, it's my paramount duty to signify to you what is a threat metaphysically. And Satan absolutely is on every level imaginable and unimaginable. And it's not a game. So when I saw this documentary, back to the documentary, it really was triggering to see all these people. It broke my heart to see how these people in this documentary really believed and really think and really feel that this is a good idea. It blew me away. There's interesting points in the film that I'm remembering that I want to highlight here. You cannot tell people as a Satanist that Satanism is about love and kindness. But then in your whole charade of, and in the documentary, in their whole charade, they're talking about sex and blood and, you know, harm, self-harm, and all these other things, strangulation and wearing black and red. And I like black. I'm not against black. I love black. Think about it. Priests wear black all the time, and yet they have this one little white collar. But that's because they're being the light in the darkness. I believe that's the significance to it. And that's primarily, you know, even with nuns, they always wear black. Black is not evil. It's to represent darkness, and then you to be the light in the darkness. To try to tell people that Satanism is based on the rebellion of the dogma of religion, and they even tried to whirl in politics. That was kind of comical to me because a lot of it had nothing to do with politics. Satanism is all about the worship of Baphomet. Then they started trying to teach this to kids in schools. And I think that personally as a mother, I would be furious over, because that is where you're trying to put religion into schools. And religion in itself is forbidden in schools. You're not allowed to teach religion in schools. So why should Satanism be any more of an exception than even other religions? You know, even Catholic religion or Christianity. None of those religions are allowed to be taught in schools unless maybe based on a club. And they did have a Satanism club, and they were trying to teach these kids with all these coloring books how Baphomet loves you and all this crap. And I was just like, no, this is unbelievable. And there was even a mother in the documentary that was giving her peace of mind, and I understood where she felt, and I actually commended her for it. Her anger, I understand. I would be just as furious. And honestly, what you should be more furious at is the school, the principal, to allow Satanism to be taught in schools. That's the first person you'd want to talk to. Not the people doing the club and putting it together. It's the person who allowed it in the school to begin with, which is the principal and the school board. I found it really funny though in the beginning, I will admit. The guy had like his cape on and the horns and shit. It just looks so damn stupid. I'm not gonna lie, it looks so dumb. I thought, how does he even have a girlfriend? I don't know. I just thought it was so weird. Like, what is he gonna go? Trick-or-treating? I'm sorry. It's just, when you dress like that, it makes it very hard for anyone to take you serious. And that's where even demons, and this is where I go into the demonology board part. Demons find that shit hilarious. They make fun of Satanists all the time. Satanists are not taken seriously at all by demons or even Baphomet or Satanists with, Satan himself. There are many Satanists that do worship a literal Satan, and those are the ones you really want to be worried about. But then again, all Satanists can be dangerous and can be a threat. But here is where I'm very careful on saying this. So if you're a Satanist, and I know you're automatically going to get upset when I say that, here's the first thing I want to say. That's not saying because you believe that you're a threat to society. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this, is a lot of Satanists go into Satanism, and this is a message to anyone who's a Satanist. A lot of Satanists go into Satanism thinking that it's a metaphorical trade, that it's something that is it's representing ideas, but not a literal sense of an entity. That's the problem. That brainwashing, idealistic idea that is not true is what makes Satanism so dangerous. Because when you start believing that it doesn't exist, but you still worship it, that makes you even more of an easier target to be manipulated and become a puppet. Because when you think they're not real, but you still like the idea of it being real, like a fan club idea, or even as a literal sense of the word of the entity itself, what you are becoming is a program of your environment. And a lot of the time, Satanists don't recognize it till it's too late. There are so many cases where I've even seen it online. I've read in newspapers, articles, all kinds. I won't get into the details of them now, but there are many Satanists that have actually murdered people, killed babies, sacrificed women and children, even men, to the point where they even castrated men, to the point where they kidnap people's babies and burn them at the stake. Satanism is more dangerous than any religion in the world. But at the same time, there are other religions that I'm not going to say on here that are even more dangerous than Satanism. But the reason why Satanism is so high, it's not because immediately they're evil and you should stay away. It's not like that. A lot of Satanists are very kind people. That's the problem. That is the problem. A lot of Satanists understand the idea of Satanism in their mentality. Okay, this is where I'm going to get a little abrupt. Satanism is not kind. True Satanism is not kind. True Satanists are not kind. And I'm going to be forward about that. I have met souls in hell. There was one couple that I met in hell, and they were Satanists. They had involved their children in Satanism. And what this father of this family told me is he thought it was a good idea, and he killed himself and all his family. I'm not entirely sure to remember exactly how they died, but I believe that's what it was. Because there's so many things and so many people that I met in hell. In that experience, that's a family I'll never forget, ever. They are saved now. They were rescued. I begged Archangel Michael to get them out. Angels work very hard to work together to get humans out. But the problem is there are so many going in all the fucking time. And it's very hard to get one out. It's extremely hard. And it pains me to say this because I saw and I listened to this father, and he even said that he regretted everything about putting his children involved in Satanism. He really thought Satanism was positive. He really thought all the lies, all the betrayal, all the misideas of Satanism. Satanism is the devil's religion. Satanism is designed specifically to orchestrate the metaphysical ideas, to make you believe it's not a literal sense. That's the idea of why Satanism is so dangerous. Because Satanism teaches people that it's not a real entity. We are following ideas and ideologies and philosophies and levels of lifestyle and belief systems of our own based on, what you do to me, I do to you. They still say, even in the Satanism book that I have back there for study, it still says, even by Anton LaVey, that it's not meant to do harm to people. In hell, in the world of Satan, in the world of Baphomet, who does exist, that I've met, they do harm people without apologies. So when I see documentaries that say that Satanism is a misunderstood religion, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I'll say that every day for the rest of my existence. And when you see demons for real, when you see the reality of the harsh, cruel things they do to children, to babies in hell, to women, you'd never want to be in there. You'd never want to worship that again. Because those are the ideologies they practice. In hell, it's real. I've been there. In hell, they tortured children on so many levels that I cannot go to sleep at night thinking about it. When I was there, I'll never forget the kids. And they thought that it was okay. They thought it was normal because mommy and daddy worshipped it too. That's exactly what Satan wants. Because children are the purest level of innocence. They're so easy to be manipulated. All you have to do is recruit them through their parents. So when I see children in the documentary that are wearing Satanism and Baphomet shirts, it's utterly disgusting. But it's heartbreaking because they have no idea how evil that is. No clue. I am not a religious zealot. Not even at all. And I don't hate anyone who worships Satanism. Like I said, I almost dated a man who was a Satanist because I liked him, because he was kind. But this is the biggest mistake, the biggest lie. It's not kind. That's the problem, is people that are worshiping Satanism think that they are all a family. They're all going to be good to each other and to the rest of the world. No! It's the exact opposite. It's control, power, manipulation, ego, pain, suffering, hell. On a deeper level than you could ever imagine in a billion zillion years. I've been there. Unapologetically, I say that without apologies. I've been there. And it's still a miracle to me sometimes that I didn't kill myself after it. But you know why I won't? Because I know I have a lot of demons waiting for me when I die. And that's exactly where they'll try to take me. Why? Because I put a lot of them back in hell. And as a demonologist, as a mother, knowing that reality in the other side is so unbelievably horrifying. But that's why it's important we talk about this, of why this documentary is bullshit. And I say it without apologies. It's not kind. It's not misunderstood. It's not okay. In fact, in the documentary, one of the leading priestess who ended up losing her position, she ended up saying during their service, putting fucking pig heads on stakes, literally, with fire and all kinds of shit going on. And she sat there and said that she was going to assassinate the president. She lost her position in Satanism. Why? Because that was something they don't want to talk about. But here's the reality, though. That is Satanism at its prime. That's what Satanism is. True Satanism is based on the demonology aspect and the traits of dehumanizing humanity as itself. Demons do not think like humans. They don't think like humans. They are not thinking like you. They are not us. They are dehumanized. That's why they dehumans. That's why they are called demons, because they are descended entities. And you have angels. Angels that are ascended entities past the dogma, past the religion. They are all about love. And they exist and they're beautiful. And that's why I have no fear even in this moment, because I know I'm safe. And I know my daughter's safe. And I know my purpose in this world is to talk about this bullshit right here. To say why you should never believe that crap. Being real, being candid, being authentic as much as possible to tell you, don't ever believe that bullshit for a second. Demons lie to make it sound good. So that way they can catch you when you're least expecting it and literally pull you in like a fish on a rail, on the hook. They're fishing for people. And so when they finally get you and they start working with you and you start working with them and you start worshiping them, you start doing your altars and shit, they start implementing their thoughts, and when you open your mind up to Satan, in Satanism, you are leaving your aura exposed for manipulation of dehumanization. That's what you're doing. You are taking on the second aura, the second body of demons. You're not being yourself anymore. You lose a sense of your reality. You lose a sense of your justice. You lose a sense of conscious understanding. People have asked me, they've always felt that they were meant for Satan. They don't know why. I've looked into this deeply with angels, and I've spoken deeply with many other ascended beings. And the truth is, that's what demons, that's what devils, that's what Satan wants you to believe. But there are very few people that are born evil, such as mass murderers, serial killers, rapists, people that have done the worst kinds of crimes you could ever think of. Those are typically the people through history, like Hitler and many others, that were born true Satanists. Even though he didn't worship Satanism, Hitler as an example, he did all the things Satan wanted him to do. Cleanse humanity. Kill it off. That's what he wanted. So that way they could get more power through humans. They were living through Hitler and all of his men working for him. I know this because I've met Hitler. And I talk about that in more experiences of Hitler and Anton LaVey. I've met Anton. He's extremely evil as well. And even as a Satanist, he does work with Satan. And he tried to get me to work with him, and I told him to fuck off, because it's never going to happen. But even in those experiences, they tormented me on so many levels that I'll never forget. But if you are interested in those stories of my experiences as a psychic medium, as a demonologist, you can look that up in my book, Demon Dealer, that I also have hoodies of and sweaters of and shirts of in my store. You can also look at that in my website at lastfrontiermedium.com if you're interested. This documentary is so implemented with the idea to make humans believe that Satan is a misunderstood being, that it's all good and it's not evil. I'm going to tell you this, is that documentary broke my heart when I saw the leading man who was in charge of the documentary, who was talking about it, the lead person, the co-founder, the person who constructed the whole thing of the Satanic Temple. I know in his heart, he just wants to be accepted as a different person. And I also spoke to him and I saw demons with him on the astral realm. And I asked him, do you realize that these demons have a hold on you? Do you realize that they are evil? What people don't understand is that people that are Satanists will get so hypnotized by these beautiful thoughts and ideas, and they will only basically be shown certain things, but they won't be shown the reality of demons in their whole core. And when you suddenly jump back and you see the reality, it freaks you out. And I did that to him. I did that with my guides, and I made him see the reality of demons. And I said, this is what you are trying to worship right now. This is what you're trying to show children. And I tried to talk to him. I really did. But he was so horrified. He really was. He felt so upset. Now, he will never remember this experience. I do not believe he ever will. And the reason why is because demons, once they have a hold on your consciousness, they can manipulate your level of memory. Most demonologists will never know that. Most psychic mediums don't know that. Most light workers do not know that. Almost all Satanists don't know that. And the reason why is because they are so programmed to believe this is a safe idea. Because they're listening to what this entity's telling them in their mind, thinking all these pretty things about them. But none of it's true. Even if you are a Satanist, you only wish to practice the philosophies of Satanism, which is to be kind, not commit harm, live for yourself, then why, the question I ask you, why worship that religion if those are the only philosophies you want to go by? If that's the only ideology you want to live by, then stop worshiping Satanism and just live by those philosophies. Live by that lifestyle. Live by that love that you believe is needed in the world. And if you believe in love at all, you're not a true Satanist. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. Because once you die and you go to the other side and you see demons, they don't believe in love. They believe in hierarchy, authority, power, greed, and control. That's all they focus on. And they have you with all that leverage, with all that power. The second you die, you're fucked. And you don't get a choice to get out of it unless you are really, really, really lucky to have help from an angel or another positive, benevolent entity. Pressured into worshiping Satan. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. Don't do it. Always ask for benevolent guidance from loving beings to guide you to what is the real, authentic truth of what is more important. As I've always said, if you believe in love, you do not belong in Satanism, because Satanism is not a loving religion. It has nothing to do with love. I don't care what the books say. I don't care what you believe Satanism is. When you listen to demons, when you go to hell, there is no love. It's all a nightmare. So I wish you guys love and light. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, or ideas, you can leave your comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can get notified of new videos I upload every week. But again, I do not hate anyone that follows Satanism. I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that they are evil intended beings or people in society. But the reality is that when you follow a religion, a belief system that is targeted towards low vibrational entities, you become the victim of their manipulation, which can put society at risk if you are vulnerable to their manipulation. So I wish you guys love and light. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.